people here to start this program. Thank you. 68 now. Be sure to hit the like button. 19 if you've done it so far. Ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, June 6, 1944, Allied nations conducted Operation Neptune, the largest seaborne invasion in human history. More commonly known as D-Day, the Allied invasion of Nazi-occupied Europe was a massive operation. Planning for D-Day began in earnest in 1944 and included a massive military deception operation with fake tanks and military forces made to appear larger and in different locations to convince the German High Command that the invasion would occur in a different location at the Pas de Calais. Lieutenant General George S. Patton was placed in charge of phantom military formations as part of the effort to deceive the Germans. 13 Allied nations participated in the D-Day invasion, though the bulk of the troops came from the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. 156,000 Allied soldiers and 197,000 naval personnel took part on the Allied side. Can you imagine that, folks? Can you imagine it? Nearly 360,000 troops in an invasion. 50,000 German troops faced these Allied forces on the beaches of France. The Allies employed nearly 5,000 landing and assault craft, 289 escort vessels, 277 minesweepers in the landings. By the end of June, over 875,000 troops had landed in Normandy. Major General, not Lieutenant General, Major General Dwight David Eisenhower was placed in command of the operation. One, he was not fully convinced he would be successful. Eisenhower was so convinced about failure that he penned his resignation letter, accepting full responsibility for the defeat the night before the landings. Fortunately for General Eisenhower and the free world, the Allies' gamble paid off. The landings in Normandy caught the Germans by surprise, particularly since the poor weather had been a significant deterrent to the invasion, and that Adolf Hitler insisted the Normandy invasion's landing was just a diversion for what he was certain was the main effort at the Pas de Calais, which never came. The United States First Army, with 73,000 troops under the command of Lieutenant General Omar Bradley, landed at Utah and Omaha beaches, the code names for their locations. 7th Corps under Major General Lawton Collins hit Utah with the 4th Infantry Division, the 82nd Airborne Division, the 90th Infantry Division, and the 101st Airborne Division. 5th Corps landed the Big Red 1, 1st Infantry Division, and the 29th Infantry Division. The success of the amphibious landings depended on the establishment of secure lodgment from which to expand the beachhead. Airborne units were critical in this role. Paratroopers of the 82nd and the 101st Airborne Divisions, numbering over 13,000 men, were delivered by Douglas C-47 Skytrains aircraft. Reinforcements later arrived by glider. Unfortunately, the paratroopers and glider troops often landed far from their drop zones, hampering their effectiveness and leading to excessive casualties. Fighting, particularly on Utah and Omaha beaches, was intense. Allied casualties on the first day of the invasion were at least 10,000. With 4,414 confirmed dead soldiers at the landings in Normandy. The Germans lost 1,000 soldiers that day. The sacrifices of these men from 13 nations, united to defeat fascism, led to the liberation of France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, and the eventual surrender of the Nazi regime, and set the stage for the final surrender in May 1945. June 6, 2024 marks the 80th anniversary of D-Day. According to data from the Veterans Administration, of the 16.4 million Americans who served in the United States military during World War II, fewer than 100,000 are expected to still be alive by the end of 2024. Approximately 150 American World War II veterans are expected to travel to Normandy today for the events that occurred earlier, and about 24 of them who actually fought on D-Day. The youngest of those veterans is 96 years of age. This 80th anniversary is likely to be a powerful event and the last significant gathering of D-Day veterans in Normandy. And I thank you. That is my monologue for tonight, June 6th, 2024. 80 years since the D-Day invasions, which ended fascism in Europe. Well, fascism in the 20th century, but it has reared its head today under liberal politicians across Europe and around the world. Thank you to the 186 people currently here. And that was my monologue. I'll give you a rundown of the events today before I get to the chat and talk to folks. But just to let you know, it's been a busy day as usual. I always tell myself I'm going to take it easy, and I never do. Today, I started my day out. I left here and drove from Northcliffe up to Linwood where I met with a friend, and we talked about some issues that were important. Afterwards, I had breakfast there. Afterwards, I left and was walking through the Linwood, the Linwood Bridge, the shopping area there, and one of the coffee shops there, I think Tosh's is the name of it, if I remember correctly. These two gentlemen said, hey, we know that guy. And they came over and they recognized me. And so we took a few photos. That was really nice. Ronaldo is here. How's it going? And yeah, I know he's on SABC, but I don't have SABC here. At least, I mean, well, here's the TV, but let me see if I can turn it on. I've got 45 remotes here, so let me see which one would work for the TV. It looks like it's a Hisense. So there's a Hisense. Let's try it on. See if I can't find SABC. Oh, yeah, but I do have YouTube. That's true. All right, Ronaldo. Don't be so rude. Boy, these people get cheeky. You elect them to Parliament, and look how they behave. All right, let me get him and listen to him. But you're not going to be able to hear it very well for YouTube. So I'll crank up the volume, but you're not going to have an easy time hearing it. That's why I don't do it. I can't feed it through. All right, so hang on a second here. My monologue is more important than shit around with poses garbage. Trust me. Live stream. Okay, here we go. Oh, there's the link, but I can't get to that. Let me see. Live. No, I can't get to that. It's on my phone. It's not on my computer. So sending me the link. Let me see if I can. I don't have this broadcast open, so you're going to say next, open your stream. Well, I have to get there. Give me a moment. Oh, has he started yet? Even? All right, here we go. Let me get over here. All right, folks, be patient. Thank you. Got 212 people here. So Ronaldo's tuned in here. Okay. Okay. Well, let's set my, oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so there's my stream. Okay. And there's the link from Ronaldo. Okay, thank you for the link, Ronaldo. All right, for some reason, my YouTube doesn't show me that. So trying to get to, yeah, there we go. All right, well, that actually was on the screen there. It says live. So Round of Pose is not live yet. Okay, screw Sierra. I'm here listening to Chris, says Sean. Well, me too. Anyway, so while we wait for Seal to show up, he's not there yet. So I met those guys who recognized me. I didn't know. I thank you if you're tuned in tonight. It was a pleasure meeting the twins and their father. And then I went from there to Safari Outdoor. Safari Outdoor, and bought a couple of things there. That was lovely. Doing my best to support the South African economy. Once I was done there, I went and met up with Steve Hofmeyer. And we hung out at his place. Then went and had lunch. We had lunch at a really cool restaurant, Pretoria East. And it has an unusual name. When you go to the loo, you hear cattle baying and mooing in the bathrooms. It's called Moo Moo. So here's an unsolicited plug for Moo Moo in Pretoria East. Interesting place. It's a steakhouse, and you get to select your type of steak and the size of it, and then you get a special sauce, and you can mix up your veggies. It was pretty cool. So if you've never heard of Moo Moo in Pretoria East, I can highly recommend it. The prices were reasonable. The food was fantastic, and the service was very good. In fact, I wanted one of these coasters, and what happened was, I told the lady, mine had, a stain on it from my milkshake. And I said, how do I steal one of these without getting caught? And she laughed. So she said, hang on. So she came back. She gave me this and a mug, but it's a Hogarden mug. So it's, but that's not really for the business. So I had this, and we got up and left. We took a photo, Steve and his friend, and then who showed up there while we were there. And we left. And as we're driving out of the parking lot, the lady comes running out the other side of the restaurant. She goes, you forgot your So I said, what a terrible thief I would make. I make noise about stealing a coaster, and then I leave it on the table. I clearly cannot be a politician, certainly not here in South Africa or at home. But that was, I thought, pretty funny. So moo moo, and I made a boo-boo and leaving the thing behind. So let me turn this off. Hisense. There we go. Okay, that's off now. Yeah, I got YouTube. Sorry, Ronaldo. I just walked in the door. It takes a moment to get set up here. I'm in a rush to get back. We just had a meet and greet. It was a rather low turnout. I think people are busy. A lot of people last night said they wanted to come, but then they didn't make it today. So we had a couple people show up, and I thanked them for that. But on the way out of Thunder Gun, a gentleman came up to me, and he saw me outside while we were taking photos, and I said, can I help you? He says, yes. Can I get a photo with you? I said, sure. He said, I've been watching you forever. Indian fellow. It was very nice in the sea, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So I got recognized there as well. That was pretty exciting stuff there. All right, so that makes 5 on election day, 2 the day I flew, and 2 today. That's 9 times already. So yes, today is D-Day, and I have mentioned those things, honor those folks. Let me get into chat while we wait for Cyril to show up. Let me turn the volume on just in case he comes on so I know where the heck is he at. There he is. Okay, I've got the volume on, I believe, so. All right, but the problem is it's in a different window. All right, so Laudy Monday was here before the top of the hour. I was about 3 minutes late. My apologies for that, folks. It is D-Day, and I was a little busy. It's all smoke screen for the rainbow drool. Yep, they're talking about government national unity, potentially. Sandy Hunt says, hi from the Mother City and beyond. So the ANC is going to tell us what they're going to go for here, probably government national unity, which won't include the DA. Kevin Johnson said, game is over. Look at the dramatic change in demography. Okay, Boyd Boer is here. And by the way, a lot of people who watch this program don't even have accounts with YouTube. So thank you to all those viewers who clearly, apparently, based on anecdotal evidence, seem to be outnumbering the number of subscribers by a figure of 4 or 5 or 7 to 1. There's a lot of people out there. So where I'm staying at tonight, I came back and my wonderful host said that today they took the bins and brought them back in. And the neighbors said, do you have a guest? And they said, yes, we have a guest. Chris Wyatt's here. And he goes, Chris Wyatt from YouTube? Yeah. Oh, I watch all of his stuff. So they found out that their neighbor watches my program too. That was pretty cool. Hester Coates is here. Welcome, Hester. Kevin Johnson. When in the military, you're taking pounding, you need more recruits. Werner Kruger. Eniga iemand and Van, I don't know anybody knows a good joke. We'll skip the jokes for now. Just Jock says, what do you call Batman? Okay, I guess there you go. So all right, let's skip that. You guys were waiting for me. I was a little late. Okay, I'll skip the jokes here. LS, good evening to you. Vilma Erasmus. Radine, salve. Why did Germany declare war on the U.S. anyway? Because Hitler was a moron. There's no reason to declare war on the United States, only Japan. But he was allied with Japan, and so he did it. But Japan didn't declare war on the Soviet Union when he invaded, so it was really, really, really stupid. And he paid the price for it. Soviets, Russians lost the most people. Well, yeah, in part because they murdered their own people. They lost 30 million people in the Great War. Andre, good evening to you. Charles Van Onsen, the voice of reason. Omaha was hectic, probably the bloodiest fighting. Yep, it was Omaha. Utah wasn't much better, but it was better. Dylan Combrick, good evening. Dylan's our big fan out there in the West Coast. Marty is here. Erica, hey, Erica. And what else we got there? Robert Rankin, good evening to you. Robert, 305 people here. We're waiting for Cyril to start telling us. Now, he was in the National Executive Committee meeting. He's going to make an announcement on coalition talks. So we do have it open. We'll see what happens. And Sarah Thron says, good evening from Cape Town. Hey, Sarah, welcome to you. Keith Alderston, Clive Street. Sean Folshank says, D-Day forever now be known as Pooh Day. Thank you, President Joe Biden. Gosh. Charles Van Onsen. Sean was at the informal meet and greet that we had at M. Eimer there in Somerset West. Ronaldo says, Cheryl's late. Supposed to address at 8:30. Still nothing. Okay. Do you have YouTube? Yes, I have YouTube. Ronaldo must be drinking. Speaking of which, give me some of this juice right here from Energate. There we go. Waldy Monday says, I'm here. Okay, you don't want to see that on your screen, so let me move it over here. All right, get over there. Moo. That's funny. I tell you what, you go to the loo there at Moo Moo, and you're doing your business, all of a sudden you're, what the heck? Are we next to a field? Are we in the field? Are we at a restaurant? Erica says, I'm not staying long because I'm very, very tired. Sorry to hear that, Erica, but I hope your therapy went well. Ernst, hello, Alma. Grüße euch and not Paul. Okay, you're in Paul. Discussing Germany when we gave burning issues in our hands. The reason why we say whites should not govern any country in Africa, they're simply misplaced. Listen, Dingbat Doorknob N, your bigotry and racism are not welcome here. You can take that, roll it up into a wad, and stick it in your rectum and find someplace else to go. Discussing D-Day, of course. It's the reason you have electricity and you have a country, because we ended fascism. We ended fascism. That's right. And the sacrifice of 4,414 men who died that day is much more important than your racism and bigotry on my channel. Bye-bye. Harry, you're not shadow banned. I can see you there. So there you go. All right, and what a shame, what a tragic nonsense from you coming here. So the title of the program is talking about the coalitions, and I'm now going to cover Cyril's talk if he ever shows up, and you have to be such a nasty, nasty troll. What a shame. And your racism is not welcome here, so sick. Piss off. Piss off. What else? All right. Kinnear's here. Welcome to you. Then we've got Sean. Screw Cyril. A very interesting fact is German U-boat wolf packs cost 7 times more casualties than Allied lives. Well, that's true. And a lot of shipping was sunk. Hey, Sue, what's going on? Cyril's supposed to go live at 12 out. I didn't know that. Lynette Orr, my late dad served in World War II. He's an air mechanic serving fighter planes. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for that so much. All right, what else we got here? Until when are you in Josie? I will be in the Gauteng area tomorrow. I'll be in Pretoria tomorrow night. And then Saturday, I'll be at Loftus for the quarterfinals against Benetton. Sunday, I fly to Port Elizabeth. I'll be there Sunday night. We're having a meet and greet at Tapas, I believe at 5 o'clock. I got to check my schedule for my flight. And then after that, I'll be there Monday. And if anybody wants to do anything, I'll probably link up with Byron Shepherd while I'm there. Ronaldo's getting busy. I'll be seeing Ronaldo on Sunday, maybe on Monday. He's getting busy for Parliament. And then I leave on Tuesday for Durban. I'll be flying to Durban. People have been begging me to come back to KZN. So I'll be doing that. I'm just sorting out where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be. Because I'll be arriving at 5:30, get a car. It's going to take an hour and a half in traffic to get to Howick. So I'm waiting to hear from John Tungay. Or I might just book a room at the Hilton there if people want to come up. But the way the meet and greets have been going, some are big, some are bad. I don't know if it's worth if people want to drive to the north side of Durban to come to a meet and greet. And it doesn't have to be the Hilton, but I figured I'd stay at the Hilton. Anyway, so I got to sort that out. And then I haven't got anything planned after that. But after KZN, I will be coming back to Gauteng. I'll be up here. Now, another development today, I talked to Rob, and he's going to try to work something out for Uppington, which was off the table, but it might be back on the table now for a day or two at Uppington. Anyway, the plan is to leave KZN after being, but I got to be back up here on Friday. Of course, it all hinges on whether the Bulls win. If the Bulls win Saturday, then my calendar's set. I have to get back to Gauteng on Friday so I can go to the game on Saturday at Loftus, the semifinal. If they don't win, then I got a day or two more I can mess around and then come back up here, spend a few days, and then on the 18th or 19th or 20th, somewhere about there, I'll be back in the Western Cape until I leave. So not enough time. It seems like a lot of time, but it's not. Ramaphosa is crying. Temba Tesela says, too many DA racists online. So Temba, you know, your horrible racism is unnecessary. Again, roll that bigotry and racism up into a little ball and just sit down on top of it. You'll feel much better. If you want to be an adult, you're welcome to stay in the chat. But if you continue with your racism and bigotry, you'll be banished. So thank you for being here. And once again, instead of just being a nasty, non-human troll, why don't you explain your point? Which DA members are racist, and how are they racist? They're racist because they don't believe in black supremacy? That doesn't make you a racist. That doesn't make you a racist. All right, so think of all the lives in Africa, but we are here discussing Germany. Why should you people bother being government? Okay, look, you know, normally it's not worth talking about the trolls, but it's important to remember people. Dipshits, dingbat doorknobs like this fraud troll here are just ass wipes, okay? Just put it in clear language here. They're just ass wipes, pooples. So here's the thing. I have talked on this channel endlessly, shithead, about Sudan. 5.5 million people displaced in Hungary. The ANC has not a word to say about black Africans starving and dying. They have not a word to say about black Africans starving and dying, and Muslims in Niger, in Mauritania, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Nigeria, Christians being murdered in Nigeria, tens of thousands of them. Not a single peep from the ANC. So take your bigotry, your racism, and your hatred and go somewhere else. Lee, no, I'm not a Bulls fan. I'm a Stormers fan, but I do support the Bulls. All right? Okay, I'm not going to take too much more of this. These racists. I'm just going to start ignoring them. They really are having chest pains, and they are so triggered by a lack of skin pigmentation. It's a disease. It's an absolute mental illness. It really is. People are triggered because somebody has a skin pigmentation that it hurts their heart. They just truly are hateful people in their heart. It's so sad to see that. All right, so Marilyn said something very funny. That's a while ago. Mike said, are we there yet? Nope, still not there. So we got Cyril waiting. Michael says, honoring heroes of D-Day. Greetings, Chris. Prayers for my dad, my uncles who served in the Atlantic Pacific. My grandfather served in Normandy. He didn't land on June 6th, but he was one of those that landed before the end of June and went all the way to Germany. Okay, what else we got here? Freelance Kate, welcome to you. Prince Sebakulo says, thank you for supporting our economy. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. N says your allegiance is elsewhere than South Africa. I'll address that one more time. Of course it is. N, are you not paying attention? Hello, I am an American citizen. My allegiance is to the U.S. Constitution. I take an oath to support and defend the Constitution, not the South African Constitution, not the United Nations, not Israel, not Myanmar, not Communist China. So yes, my allegiance is elsewhere. Is that somehow a surprise to you? Are you marveling that I don't have allegiance to the South African flag? No, I don't. And why should I? No one can owe fealty to two nations. It's ridiculous. But you sure can like and support a nation, and you sure can back it up. All right, 79 likes. What else? Chris Ayers, welcome to you. All right. I'll listen to you on YouTube. Thank you for that. How's it from Gordon's Bay? Says Werner Kruger. Hey, Werner. Gordon's Bay rocks. It's cold in KZN. Well, it was cold here last night, but nice for me. And you get more traction from YouTube when you're selling that. Well, I do this time. Talking about all DA supporters and elsewhere. Well, again, Radine, your bigotry is not welcome. Rudolph Aerofair. Hey, how's it going? And LS Bloemfontein is really not a fun place. It's cold. Yeah, it does get cold there in the wintertime. Good evening, says Sarah. And anyone know? Well, the broadcast didn't start because they're probably still arguing. Jacques Vint, what's the worst part of a lung transplant? The first phlegm that comes out isn't yours. Oh, that's gross. Emil Smith. Okay, it's very cold, he says. Agree, from Panama to Bloemfontein is cold. Okay. And what makes you think DA does not care about South Africa? Yeah, exactly. All right, so Harry is not, you're not shadow banned. I can see you. And I'm saluting World War II vets, many veterans on this channel from all over the world. That's true. Both my grandparents served from 39 to 45. Cool. And Ricardo Pierce, how's it from Boksberg? Maybe you should take a drive to Birchwood and see what's the holdup, huh? I'm not sure what there. Oh, where's Cyril? I don't know. He's still not there, folks. I'm just double checking. Anyway, so we talked a lot about coalition. First, I want to thank the 370 people currently here. If Ronaldo's still here, or is he busy drinking some of that Steri Stumpies? Ronaldo cut back on the Steri Stumpies. I don't think he drinks them anymore. But anyway, if you're still here, Ronaldo, just raise your hand. So we're talking, of course, about Ronaldo Hus, who's a DA ward councillor in Nelson Mandela Bay, Cabana. And he is a new member of parliament and will be sworn in just a few days. And we'll be getting the new parliament. The list has been sent to Zondo, Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. And apparently we will find out everything shortly. There's Ronaldo. Welcome back, Ronaldo. Cool beans. All right, so listening to you while coding. Well, Gareth, I hope I don't mess up your code. You find out with an app that doesn't work. Anyway, so Bonge Matabula. Hi, guys. Bonge from Soweto. Hey, Bonge. Pleasure. Soweto, fun fact, which a lot of South Africans don't know, but many of my viewers, when are you leaving South Africa? Not fast enough, Ronaldo. The 25th. So, Bongi, you maybe know this, but a lot of South Africans don't know this. I've told people this before. Soweto is not an African indigenous name. It's not an Nguni language name. It's not Afrikaans. It's actually English. What? It's English? Yes, Soweto stands for Southwest Townships. It is an amalgamation of three words into an acronym, Soweto. And people have lost sight of that over the years. But that is how Soweto got its name. A lot of people don't know that. I told South Africans that 4 years ago. I'm like, what? That can't be true. Look it up. It is true. Want to join me for the presidential sworn in Pretoria? What day is it, Ronaldo? 22nd? Yeah, I might want to. I'll have to fly back up here then. Huh. Wow, that's interesting. Yes, I'd be interested, Ronaldo. That'd be cool. But it's going to be the 20th. That's even better. Yeah, the 20th is better because the 20th is when I got to be in. I'll have to work something out. I'll have to look and see. But that sounds good. Save me a spot and I'll have to get back with you on it. That sounds good. Okay, so why don't you put him on a timeout? No, I'm not. Just because he's trying to be funny. Amateur Radio Fund says Chris is a Stormers fan. That is correct. We are all human. That is correct. Then so it was scheduled for 8 o'clock. It's now 9:30. We may not see a National Executive Committee summary coming out tonight. You do a stream of it. I cannot freelance Kate. I'll play it here. If it comes through, I'll play it. What's going on? Am I even live anymore? What's going on here? Oh, there we go. Okay. If it comes through, I will play it as loud as I can. All right. Blue Bull. Okay. Kinnear, you're not the gentleman I just met, are you? A short while ago at Thunder Gun. because I couldn't hear the name properly. I thought he said Kieran. What else we got here? Chris Ayler's there. Talk Kaiser Chiefs. I love your switches from being serious and then joking. Well, thank you for that, Talk Kaiser Chiefs. I can go 100 miles an hour with a rant and come right back down. Yep, right back down. But thank you. Gareth Solomon says, listening to you while coding. Okay, so I already did that. Ronaldo is here. Ludwig Schur, welcome to you. Thank you, Bongi. It's good to see you there. Megan Sally. Funk Dunk, what's better, Gatorade? Oh, no. Energate, much better. I prefer this. I could drink this all day. I spend a lot of money on Energate whenever I'm in South Africa and when I'm in Botswana. Yeah. I also believe in Congress shall make, but this is probably not as good for you physically as the electrolytes that you get in Gatorade, but the taste of Gatorade isn't as good as this. So, no law respecting established religion or prohibiting free exercise thereof. That is in the First Amendment. James Moriarty says, congratulations, Ronaldo. Yeah, indeed. Congratulations, Ronaldo. It's, I'm sure, well-deserved. Lee Roberts, almost 400 watching. Yes, 415. Be sure to hit the like button. 144 likes. What's going on there? Gordons Bay is not that cold. Yeah, no, look, I mean, I can tell you the clear difference. Remember, we're at much higher altitude here in the Highveld. It has a name. It's called the Highveld for a reason. And when I got here from Cape Town, it was much warmer. That's a fact. Much warmer. All right, Big Boss says, whoops, zipped ahead on me there. Come on, go back. Well, I tell you, it's really frustrating when the chat does that. Yeah, YouTube does nothing unless it's Kelton David Smith. Welcome to you. Keep it up. All right, thank you. And I missed some. Garrett Solomon. There you go. Let's go. Somehow it's jumping back and forth. All right, sorry. Maybe I'm the one jumping back and forth trying to find where I'm at. Okay, there we go. Can you do a live show? I can't do that. Okay. Teresa Smuts, the practice of Tucky is often adopted by two supposed opposing sides. Thank you for sharing that. Bongi says, true that. But we have no electricity, and imagine after the vote, this is crazy, really. Yeah, no, it's, it's not, load shedding didn't stop because the ANC was trying to get your vote. No, it stopped according to the electric slide. You can do it. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. Yeah, Cogent Rabacopa tells us, hey, at the Copacabana, the electricity minister tells us, ladies and gentlemen, that it has nothing to do with the ANC's election. It is the energy availability factor, which is greatly increased because of the huge effort put in by the African National Congress. But the problem is Eskom was the world's best utility in 2003. And now they can't keep the lights on. They're burning diesel like it's nobody's business. And oh, by the way, the thing that I've told you all along, the reason why Eskom is able to survive and you're not getting load shedding is because so many people have gone off grid and put solar and battery back up and take the demand off the grid. Over 5.5 gigawatts of demand vaporized. They don't have to provide anymore. So of course their energy availability factor is higher and there's less load shedding. Give me a break. You're going to tell me energy availability factor is not affected by demand. That's true. It's affected by what's available. Hey, Drion is in from Botswana. How's it going there, buddy? Been a while. Myra Page, Ronaldo. Samir Franciscus in from Georgia. In the Caucasus. Good evening, Chris. Are you staying in South Africa for Springbok Ireland? No, I'm not. I would love to stay here for 2 months, but I'm not Bill Gates and I'm not that wealthy. And N has failed to super chat. He's not given one super chat. All his trolling and he hasn't offered any money, so I can't afford to stay here that long. Gypsy Backpacker is here. Rudolph says, might want to try. Yeah, I've tried that. I don't really care for Lucozade. It's not my cup of tea. Still no Cyril, no show. Tonight, it's the no-show Cyril program live from Boxberg. Yes, we're actually in Joburg at Latuli House. Ronaldo hates this. What's Ronaldo hate? This, okay. Ronaldo hates everything. What? No, what's she saying there? Pierre Orban is here. Garrett is in from Somerset West. Charles Van Altsland from down in Amazon Toady Way. Ludwig says, my father-in-law was also a Wyatt. Well, that's pretty cool, Ludwig. Rob Peterson says, I hope your trip, oh my God, Ronaldo, you tight ass. Hope your trip has been good so far. There's an air of crazy at the moment, but once the dust settles, good old RS will emerge just fine. Okay. All right, salute to all world to Usina is back. Good to see Usina. Keith Alderson in from Coventry. Sean Flush. Congratulations, Ronaldo. Okay. J. Pat, being colorblind, you have a nice view. Purple. Yeah, I love purple. Oh, people. Purple. Yeah, gotcha. All right. No face. Please comment MK speaker answer to Newsroom Africa in regards to past comment of not wanting to be part of Ron Paul's ANC. I didn't see the comment, but yeah, the EFF doesn't want Ramaphosa. They want him gone in order to join a coalition. So Ursula, does anyone know if Ramaphosa is actually going to address the country at all? Yeah, I know. We're still waiting. Some of my ancestors were in prison in South Africa in World War II. Yes, the Italians were in prison here. They're also in prison in the Orkney Islands. I've been there. They built a church. I've been to the church the Italians built. Johan, likely delayed. Drion, welcome to you. Purple Cow, the Moo. Wow, that was the capitalist party. If only they could have put in the effort years ago. Exactly. What else? We got here. Sue says, oh, come on, go back there. Come on. Sue says, Colonel, would you be interested in watching an Eyewitness News interview held earlier today? I have the link. Explain if the show's not announced. Yes, so you still got, I still left the spanner on, you still got it. Modi resigned? Gosh, Bus, I'm out busy meeting people all day long, and Modi resigned? Did he resign because Parliament's being reformed, or because he didn't get an outright majority? Wow, that's crazy. That's a big deal. I was here last year when Modi came to Santon City, and Modi was at Santon. I mean, it was like every Indian in South Africa was present. It was unbelievable. It was a mass crowd. And Mark Oppenheimer and I were there when Modi walked in behind us, right behind us. It's so funny. So we were there. We were the throng of people when Modi walked in the hotel. It was pretty cool. Yeah, Mark Oppenheimer and I were there. It was pretty wild. There's a lot of buzz when he came. Cruda Bex cannot. It's not good to visit some home for too long. What do you think of the SNYX channel? What is the SNYX channel? Ronaldo's 7 rand. And 9 people liked it. Kieran. Oh, that's Kieran. Okay, that's who I meant. Kieran Parbu. Sorry. Nice meeting you this evening at Thundergun. Wish I had more time. No, I wish you did, Kieran. If we do another meet and greet up here in the Joburg area, just watch for it. If you want to keep up on events for this trip, you need to join the WhatsApp group for this. It's called Make South Africa Great. Footsec ANC, that's the name of this tour. The last one, of course, was tied to the BRICS tour. It was another brick in the wall. The one before that was the Highveld tour, and the first one when I came back to South Africa after the COVID scam was the I'm Not the Garden Boy tour. Yep, that was the tour. So it was really nicely meeting. It was Kieran. I did hear correctly. Blackie White says, I don't know, bro. What don't you know? Andre's message was deleted. Andre's message was retracted. Declan says, sorry I didn't make it to Thunder Guide. No, it's okay, Declan. We had a good time. There's Justin. Welcome, Justin. Great host. What else we got here? Matthew Dixon. So, folks, I think a lot of people think they're going to hear about Ramaphosa, but I'm going to talk about the coalitions after I get through the chat here in just a minute. Oh, no, I don't know that. Look, Dalian Pofa's son? No, that guy is he has no idea what he's talking about. His bigotry and his behavior are off the charts. I listened to him once or twice, and I just like, are you serious? Are you serious? You've got a broadcast? Someone's paying for this? Someone's paying you a salary for this? No, if that's the same guy. Okay. Oh, hell yeah. I can't believe I forgot about them. What's this? Corsairs. Beckett Sealy resigned. Oh, well, it's about time. Is that made the news? Oh, it's about time. Well, he's done. He wasn't on the list. He's not going to get it anyway. Truth matters. Can't believe people are watching this crap. Well, you're chatting, so you're watching it. Hey, Barton Boy is working again. All right, so truth matters. Why are you being so rude and disrespectful? You know, you can footsec, piss off, find something else to do if you don't believe people are watching it. All right, so let's get to the coalition talk here and what's going on. But let me see if I can't find a Beckett Sealy. That was not in the news when I went live. So actually, let's go to News 24 because they usually do a good job breaking things in Propaganda 24. Meeting finishes, Ramaphosa brief media. That's from earlier. There's no mention of Beckett Sealy resigning here. That would be front page news. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened. It just means it hasn't got to the news media yet. Let me try Twitter. Twitter is, am I logged in on this laptop? I don't remember. Probably not. Come on, sign in. Let me see if my password is here. Another. No, it's not. Okay, I can't sign in. So Twitter's not going to help me there. Twitter's on my phone. All right, so yeah. Oh, there's a super chat come in. Don't have my bell, so let's get back to that. 35 rand from Megan Sally. Picking up the troll bill. I'm disheartened by the amount of racist comments in live chats. I left FBC to come here rather. Oh yeah, no, SABC is really nasty. The chat's going on. The load shedding. I heard the National Botanical Gardens is hiring. Yeah, no, Harry, you're right. Listen, folks, if you're disturbed by something happening in the chat, someone's bothering you, right click on their username. The radio will come up, the three buttons, if I'm not mistaken, and you can block their comments. You won't see them. All right, so what else got there? Okay, let's talk about coalition stuff here. So, who's Tombo? I didn't see that chat comment. You're wrong about Sizwe and Pofu. Well, okay, Tabiso. Tell me why I'm wrong about him. Look, you may be entirely correct. You may be 100% correct. And I may have just caught him in a couple bad days, but the stuff he said just didn't make any sense. If we're talking about the same guy, maybe we're not talking about the same guy. This is Dali and Pofu's son? Is that who we're talking about? Because I'm talking about Dali and Pofu's son. Maybe I got his name wrong. I thought it was Sizwe. But Tabiso, please. And do not, well, Chris, okay, God. All right. The Lady Pondor's out. We know that. She's one of 7 ministers that are out for sure, along with Beckett Sealer, but I didn't hear they resigned. So, Tabiso, you're welcome. Nobody give Tabiso a hard time. His analysis is on point. Really, give me an example of his analysis was on point. I appreciate that. We're listening. And nobody harassed Tabiso. He's making a point here. And then what else we got here? Somebody's complaining about, Tualo says you're not wrong about Sizwe. Okay? And bias, Sizwe has ties, EFF. Yeah, that's true too. Truth Matters says, why do you want to block me, Chris Sailors? Well, Truth Matters, Chris Sailors is not a spanner. He can't block you. So, all right. So give us a poll whether ANC will go into coalition with DA. That's a good question, but I'm going to have to open something else up here because I'm not in my studio. Let me see if I can get to my studio because there I can do a poll. All right. Let's see what happens here. All right. Okay. All right. So, is it going to let me get in there? No, I can't do that. Shoot. Come on. No, it's not letting me get in because my clocks are in the way. God bless it. No, I can't get to the poll. Sorry. I tried, but I cannot get to it. That's unfortunate. So, I got chat here, but so I can chat. Hello. But I cannot get to the poll. It's blocked on my screen. Wait, maybe I can get to it here. Let me try this. Still not there. It will not let me do the poll for some reason in this. I can do this at home. Not sure why I can do it here. Why I can't do it here. Well, there it is. Engage with the audience. It's hidden. Start a poll. Okay. What was the question now? There's a question about give us a poll. ANC. Okay. All right. There you go. That's a good question. All right. So I got it to work now. Will ANC Okay, so you got it. All right, that's a good one. All right, cool beans. All right, there you go. There's the poll. I got it up. Give it a shot there, folks. Okay, so there's your chance. The poll is up. And, well, I can't vote. It won't let me vote. I can't vote in my own poll. No, you guys are saying that, but it's not appearing in the news. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. Let me see if IOL is reporting it or Times Live. Times Live. Cyril's still not live here. This is a fascinating discussion tonight as we're... Okay. Jabulani Kumalo is MK Party's number one. So Jabulani Kumalo registers the MK Party. Then Jacob Zuma, who's not even a member of the party, outs him and 4 other members of the party. And he goes to court. The list can't be changed. So Jabulani Kumalo will be the loneliest man in parliament as the head of the MK constituency in parliament, but he's an outcast. Members of his party threw rocks and stones and bottles and water at him outside the electoral court. Poor Jabulani. I feel bad for the guy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Would not Lady Pondor make a good president? They actually have a poll on Times Live. Are they brain dead? Where do they come up with this nonsense? Anyway, none of that stuff is showing up in the chat. All right, so let me get back to the chat here. Oh, I said hello. That was me saying hello. Okay. So the poll is up. You got a chance to do it. Okay, let's see how many people vote on the poll. And Pondor Departure is very welcome, possibly the biggest bigot out there, says Funk Dunk. DeMongs, I've watched Mpofu during the cholera outbreak, and I thought he brought shame to journalism, never bothered again. Exactly. I saw that too. Brewer, good evening, Colonel. Hope you're having a lovely evening. Well, I'm doing okay, and I'm glad to see 400 people here in the stream. Be sure to hit the like button. Anybody wants to super chat, you're welcome to do that. We call that e-begging. Slot Steam Cup, welcome to see you there. And when is it going to start? Well, we don't know. We're still checking. It's still not live. It says live at 8 p.m. And there's a lot of people over there saying nasty stuff in the chat. How many people are watching it? They've got 4,600 people waiting for Cyril to show up. I have a feeling he's not going to show up tonight. Stephanie Hatza Michael, there you go. No face, rumors of leaked document from Thabo Mbeki Foundation, which people, as the ANC refer to when referring to our people. Well, we know that whenever Cyril Ramaphosa says our people in South Africa, he's only talking about, he says our 50 million. There's 63 million South Africans. You got 1.2 million Indians. You've got 4.8 million white folks, and you've got 6 to 8 million colored folks. And apparently, they're not part of the population whenever he talks about the 50 million South Africa. Tabisa said that the ANC coalition with another party other than DA may collapse the economy. It may move negatively, but it won't collapse. The economy's already collapsing, Tabisa. I don't know if you're keeping track of things. You have junk bond status. You can't borrow money. You've been living off the largesse of Western donors who, through whatever ridiculous collective guilt, are giving money to South Africa for the just energy transition, which hasn't arrived yet, but it will, to the tune of about $9 billion US. You've already gotten 5.3 billion that went and disappeared just poof during COVID. South Africa is bankrupt. And it has no money, and the ANC is bankrupt and has no money, and things are not good. The economy is collapsing. It contracted by -1.1, 1/10 of 1 percentage point. It contracted. It was supposed to grow. Things are stagnant here because racist policies, failed macroeconomic policies, lunacy, rampant crime, poor energy delivery, collapsing infrastructure, and I love South Africa, and I'm just being honest. So, it's not going to go well for South Africa if the DA doesn't line up with these guys. Okay. Cedric Stevens, any inside info on future positions of Cameron, JP Smith? There's a lot of talk about Ian Cameron becoming the Minister for Police, but that's a long road to go to. In my view, ANC DA getting together, and again, I don't think that's the wise money. The smart money is ANC DA IFP, which now a lot of journalists are talking about, but I talked about as soon as the figures for the IFP came out over the weekend and said, hey, 4%, 3.86. I said, now that's credible. And the right guy is Labisa. So no ANC president, no DA president, but the IFP president, and then they split, work stuff out. But whatever happens, I find it almost impossible to believe that the African National Congress will give up any assets in the security cluster. So the police, crime intelligence, the SANDF, SAPS, I said already, and the justice system, they're not going to give that up in a coalition. And they'll fight tooth and nail. They don't want the justice system given up because it'll be used as a weapon and a cudgel against the criminals within the ANC, the accused criminals. Remember that Zweli Mkhize was all but found guilty by the Hawks, who said that he committed crimes and should be charged. He simply resigned as the health minister and remained in parliament drawing his salary, despite the fact that he's implicated in the digital vibes theft. Yeah. Dudu Zuma debate. What's that? Okay. Okay, it's running 50-50 right now for the poll. ANC coalition with Thabo Bester. That's funny. All right, let's see. Go here. So that's on X. I can't. Oh, that's not it's Ronaldo's being funny. That's a really gross looking video. That's disgusting. That's yoga? Good God. Okay, that's not funny. All right, we'll skip that. So back to the chat. Errol Whiteman's here. Welcome to you. Ilya says, great take. Amateur Radio Fund, Libby for president. Yes. And I've been saying that ever since we found out with the numbers. Wow, I'm actually so embarrassed about my country. Hey, don't worry, Stephanie. I'm an American, proud American. I'm embarrassed about my country. That's doo-doo. Wow, that's pretty nasty. Is the DA, ANC, FP coalition happening? Heino Bezuidenhout, we don't know. That's what I'm suggesting is a good path out of the mess that we're in right now. Whether the ANC does that or not is a whole other story. It's the best possible outcome of all the bad outcomes for South Africa. America beat Pakistan. Yes, America is kicking. But hey, those American cricket players, not exactly Midwest boys. But America's been kicking tail in the T20 World Cup. I watched them win the other day against Canada. They crushed it. And then they're knocking it out of the park. 6 runs, 6 runs, 6 runs. Man, it's like watching baseball. It was incredible. Yeah, so they beat Pakistan. That is a statement right there. Yeah, the polls. Menage Qua says, are there any high-profile Southern politicians that are actually clean? Sure, there's been some honest ones. I think Trevor Manuel is honest. And there's some others, but I'm not going to go into it right now. Ludwig says, what coalition apps we all suffer? Yeah, well, I kind of just said that. Friday says, I work for Cyril. Always late sometimes, then I even pitch for meetings without notifying. Yeah, he's very inconsiderate, very rude, and very disrespectful of others. Yep, that is a fact. Clips for you, ANC, DAIP, well done and good choice. Okay. Dudu got nothing on Biden and his Dudu. Well, that's interesting, Fran. Thanks for sharing that about him. And clips for you, or else it's coming. Okay, so let's get back. Let me check on the Cyril, the squirrel. Still not there. People are putting up dollar signs in the chat. All right, so let me get away from the chat for a few minutes to talk about potential coalitions here in South Africa. Now, famously, well, or not so famously, because only 2,400 people watched it. 2 months ago, over 2 months ago, I now, based on the Brent Hurst poll, said if these results hold up, these are my predictions for potential coalitions in South Africa because ANC. Remember, folks, if you're new tonight, somebody, and you can go back and watch the video, after the municipal elections in 2021, somebody, one political analyst, predicted that the ANC would not do better than 38 to 42% at best in this election if it was free and fair. Now, where did you hear that at? Right here in Chris Wyatt Africa. I told you that after analyzing the 2021 election results. Now, I know municipal doesn't equate to national, but there was a trend here that was very applicable to this race, and that was the internal insurrection in the African National Congress that unfolded after Jacob Zuma was convicted of contempt of court on the 29th of June, 2021. And that day, I told you there would be insurrection, there would be chaos, there would be looting, there would be riots. The thing I didn't know was the scale of it. The scale was off the charts in KZN and also in Soweto. Hundreds of people officially dead, 354 officially dead. We know it was probably a few thousand, but we don't have evidence of that. But based on the bodies we saw in the horrible footage that was shown, the billions of rand dollars of destruction, the lost business, the damage done to South Africa's reputation as a safe haven for investment, all of that. In that municipal election, ANC voters did not go to the polls. In mass percent more in that vote than the previous vote, Inkatha Freedom Party jumped to control 24 municipalities. They gained 15 municipalities because there were fewer ANC voters, which meant that they won, or they could form an outright majority, a minority coalition that just gave the majority, or a minority, a plurality government. So looking at that, plus some other factors, I predicted 38 to 42%. Now, what I didn't know, and there was no MK on the horizon, there was no 360 days of load shedding last year. Those things came later. But throughout that time, initially, well, you know what you're talking about. You know nothing about South African politics. Really? Yeah, you're talking to. But that doesn't mean I was going to get it right. I could have very much got it wrong. Things could have changed. But based on the information then, and all along, people said, you're going to change your prediction. You're going to change prediction. People told me that's crazy. And I didn't change my prediction because my facts did not change. Even with MK coming into the scene. And by the way, the ANC didn't lose this election because of MK. The math doesn't work out that way, folks. They lost this because people don't trust them. And I'm talking about Black folks don't trust them. An awful lot of them banned it. The ANC lost 4 million votes. And how many of those do you think were white votes? A few tens of thousands, maybe 100,000. The rest were Black South Africans. And they abandoned, particularly Zulu abandoned. And they didn't abandon because of Jacob Zuma. They were abandoning the ANC already. It's embarrassing. This is a squelching defeat. They lost 4 million voters, 10.4 million to 6.4 million. That is 17%. That's insane. And only poor governance and kleptocracy explain how they dropped so far. Anyway, I made that prediction back then. It turned out it was right. I made some more recent predictions, and most of them were pretty accurate. I was a little bit off. I did predict about 6 weeks ago that I was hoping or expecting the Democratic Alliance would go from 23 to 27%. 30% would have been incredible, but I didn't think they'd get there based on polling and based on the situation. And they underperformed my expectation at 21.8%. But they did get 3 more seats in Parliament because of the lower number of voters, despite losing 120,000 votes. So all in all, they kind of held their ground. They held on to the Western Cape. Now, the only major party that actually gained votes in this election was the Inkatha Freedom Party. They gained about 100,000 votes, and they made themselves a credible part of Parliament. Now, the person smiling the most is the person that might be the kingmaker in all of this, and that, of course, is Gate McKenzie. The Honorable convicted Gate McKenzie will be going to Parliament, and his 9 seats, is it 9 he has, will potentially be kingmakers. ANC, EFF, probably not likely, PA, but it could be done. All right, and that's a scary alliance because all he wants to do is get home affairs, and he won't care about what else happens. All right. Is a coalition really necessary? Can't probably be elected without one. Drop in the bucket, a coalition is not necessary. A plurality government can rule, but there's a problem with that. Somebody has to elect a president. If the ANC puts forward a candidate, I guarantee you the 60% of the people in parliament, many of them are likely to vote against it. So it's highly unlikely the ANC with its 159 members of parliament will even get all the ANC votes. Say they put forward Ramaphosa. There will be ANC members who rebel and don't vote. So they're going to have to pull in a lot of votes, probably 40, 60 votes just to get Ramaphosa elected, and then he forms a cabinet. But any legislation they put out there will easily be defeated by opposition parties unless it's in their favor. So they don't have to have a coalition. And I think no other analyst has been saying that. I've been saying it all along. I've been telling you that there doesn't have to be a coalition, doesn't have to be a government of national unity. It just makes it very difficult to rule. We see this in Europe all the time. Quintessential Organics is laughing. U.S. will be finished if Joe's reelected. Well, you're right, but it's no reason to laugh. I mean, if the United States goes down the tube, the entire world collapses. So keep that in mind. Thanks for your insight, big man. Are you happy Trump is leading the polls? Yes, I am. I'm very happy. What some of us want is for the land and economy taken back without compensation. We can survive an economy devoid of foreign investment. Those who can't will leave us in peace. No, you can't, man. You can't. Where are you going to get your energy from? Where are you going to get your energy from? Where are you going to get the hard currency to purchase oil? Because you don't produce oil in this country. Oh, you do. Sasol. But that's the colonizers that built Sasol with the Ribbentrop Fisher process. So I guess we'll have to abandon that. Where are you going to get your iPhones? How are you going to watch your internet? Who's going to maintain that? That's maintained by white, black, and brown South Africans. And it's also propped up by foreign direct investment coming into the economy and money borrowed by the South African government. So where exactly are you get all that? Are you going to put 43 million black South Africans in the veld, herding cattle? I mean, that's the ANC's plan, put 1 million black Africans into subsistence agriculture. It's going backwards. This is the 21st century, not the 16th century. So I'm not really sure, but thank you for that rational comment, Ben. See, we didn't censor you. Do you prefer government or national unity? No, I don't, TR. I think a far better option, the best of all bad options, is what I suggested. ANC, DA, IFP. And that will give that government not 66%, 66 plus 1, so they can't change the Constitution on their own, which they wouldn't do. All right. What land? Okay. CR is waiting for the people to show him the money. Show me the money! Blissful ignorance, truth. Grade Maid says, I live here. Well, that's cool. Still waiting for Cyril. He is now 2 hours late. I don't think he's showing up, folks. It's always funny, these people in chat spouting these one-sided views against the DA doesn't want to get. No, Werner Kruger, they never do. They just make these arguments and they just don't. They don't back it up anything. Now, Ed is trying to back up his arguments, so let's see what he's got to say. South Africa must copy example of Zimbabwe. Ian Smith died very humble, and his people know who's in charge of the country, the arrogance of aliens and stuff. Well, again, so, and I ask you not to use your bigotry and racism. Aliens, I'm sorry. So do you have a problem with Homo sapiens? So you don't see me as a brother because my skin, I'm guessing your skin pigmentation is a little darker than mine based on your comments and your bigotry and racism against people with pale skin pigmentations. We all came from Africa. Some of us were smart enough to get out of Africa a little sooner than the rest of us. So I'm not sure what your beef is. And as far as aliens, if you're an Nguni-speaking person from South Africa, unless you're a Khoisan, you're an alien. You've intruded here into the space of the Khoisan. So you really don't have any ground to talk about there. And so stay away from the bigotry and just ask your legitimate questions and make your legitimate points, which you were on to for a moment, but now you're back doing silly things. All right. So Zimbabwe, the example. Okay, so let's cover Zimbabwe for those unfamiliar with it. I am very familiar with Zimbabwe, and I report on it extensively and analyzed extensively and have been correct about Zimbabwe. When the farm invasion started in 2000, the people targeted were not commercial farmers. Yes, they were, but they were specific commercial farmers like Martin Olds and David Stevenson, who were murdered on their farms. Now, why did they go after them? Because they thought they lived in a democracy. And these commercial farmers were frustrated that the government stole their money. Yes, they did. You see, the government set up the Grain Marketing Board, which meant that when you produce maize, you must sell it to the government. The government set the price. And the corrupt ZANU-PF government set the price below the market price. So whatever maize was selling for in South Africa, They said you can only sell it to the government for, like, say if it's $10 a bushel in South Africa, they sold it to the government for $8. Now, the farmers had to pay labor. They had to pay fertilizer, they had to pay for maintenance of irrigation systems and tractors and taxes and all these things, plus seed and fertilizer, all that comes into play, all the inputs. And then they're forced to sell their maize at below market cost to a corrupt government, which put the money in their pockets. So some of these commercial farmers had enough. So what did they do? They backed, because they thought they lived in a democracy, they backed the movement for democratic change, a political party that rose up in opposition from the unions movement in urban centers under Morgan Tsvangirai and Roy Bennett and others. So, by the way, Roy Bennett's white. He lived in a black constituency. It was 97% folks voted for him because he was just like them. Anyway, so they murdered the farmers who were members of MDC or financially supported it. Then they went after the rest of the farms because it got out of control. And this is what they did. So, N doesn't know what he's talking about. Agricultural reform or land theft in Zimbabwe was a complete disaster. If it wasn't for the largesse of the American taxpayer, millions of Zimbabweans would have starved to death on at least 3 occasions in the past 20 years. 3 occasions. But we put billions of dollars of food aid into that country, not to mention all the antiretrovirals, keeping the HIV positive people alive and the CD4 count levels under control and high enough. We did, the American taxpayer. Or they'd all be dead. We did. So agricultural reform failed. Do you know why? They took a productive farm, they destroyed the irrigation pipes, they destroyed the farm equipment, and then they divided the farm up in little blocks. Here's your block, here's your block. So here's the problem. Here's the water source over here. Here's the road to take your goods to market over here. They gave a person a little piece of land like this, 1 hectare here. There's no access to water, there's no irrigation pipes because they were destroyed, and there's no road. They can't transit. And it all collapsed because morons stealing land that know nothing about agriculture from people. By the way, let's talk about Zimbabwe real quick, N. 43% of the land in Zimbabwe that was owned by commercial farmers, there were 4,300 of them, 4,000 were white, 300 were black. 43% of that commercial farmland was purchased at least once from 1980 under Prime Minister Mugabe and then President Mugabe with the government's approval. The government had first right of refusal on every hectare of land sold. You cannot sell land in Zimbabwe unless ZANU-PF approved it. ZANU approved the sale of 43% of all farmland at least one time. Some of that land changed hands more than once. If the government of Zimbabwe was serious about land reform and giving poor black Africans land under the willing buyer, willing seller basis, they could have owned 43% of all commercial farmland, so designated by the government. And by the way, who was the largest landowner in Zimbabwe? It was the government. It was the government. They owned more land than anybody, and they guarded it. So, 38% of the commercial farmers in Zimbabwe moved to Zimbabwe after Mugabe became prime minister. They weren't part of the settler columns and they were oppressing the Ndebele and the Shona. They moved there under an independent, black-ruled government, bought land legally with the approval of ZANU-PF, and then they were driven off their land by thieves, by scumbags who stole their land on their racist garbage. Now, the talk about land in South Africa, people often fail to mention what happened in the 1980s. 2.5 million black South Africans were dislocated from land they occupied. Whether they owned it or not is another story, but that's not germane. 2.5 million people were displaced in the waning days of the apartheid era. But there are also a significant number of white commercial farmers who had land that they'd owned or their family had owned for decades, if not generations, taken from them. Where? Bophuthatswana in Northwest. In order to form Bophuthatswana, the government took several farms and compensated them with land in KZN, among other things. So that's not saying that what happened to commercial farmers was nearly as bad as what happened to black families, but people fail to tell the truth when they tell the story. Zimbabwe is a complete freaking disaster. It was once the breadbasket of Africa. It's a perpetual beggar for food. There's a reason why 3.5 million Zimbabweans are living in South Africa, because despite all the challenges, it's a better horizon than Zimbabwe. So, and you don't know what you're talking about in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe reform would be a disaster for South Africa because it wasn't reform. It was land theft and misallocation of land. All right, we're still waiting for Cyril. My goodness. Okay, so we still got the poll going. So we're not going to follow the example of Zimbabwe. That's dumb. Okay, what else did I miss here? So Zim was the third largest maize exporter. They can't even get the time slot right for such an important announcement. You're right. You're right, Zian. I don't think they will form a coalition, but will cooperate with each other and push UN agendas. Could be. Mugabe, Malema. Okay. Stay strong, people. Difficult times. That's true. Brewer says, preachy, Chris. Yeah. Okay. Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, Inquisitor Magnus. Rhodesia, yeah, became Zimbabwe. That's true. Okay, Zim has issues with lots of things. My 5 pence is here. Hey, does Chris keep following up? It's on your side. Malane was born in Zimbabwe. People keep saying that, but I don't have any evidence of that. I thought he was born in Mpumalanga. The rendezvous on a plot of land worked reasonably well for small-scale cattle herding when rains are enough for felt to provide grass, but not for 70 million South Africans. That's true. Adam says, my father farmed in Zimbabwe, so let's talk Zimbabwe. Mugabe only gave farms to Zanu. Yeah, no, I just talked about that, and I'll talk more about it when I get to you. Sarah says, we are all Quera, unless you're Khorasan. Exactly, Sarah Thron. I've been saying that all along. So those of European descent and those of Nguni descent, Kinfoot the land belongs to the Khoisan and the coloreds who are descended from them and others. Okay. All right, quintessential. Okay, Malane was okay. I think Zim used to be the biggest exporter of tobacco in the world. They weren't the biggest exporter. They were one of the biggest exporters. The United States is the biggest exporter of tobacco, I believe, and has been for decades. Talk Kaiser Chiefs. What are your opinions on how to make South Africa equal in terms of 20% of people owning 80% of wealth in the country? Well, Kaiser Chiefs, that's actually a good question. Thank you for asking that, brother or sister. I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but that's a good question, and one that I addressed in 1994. But I was just a captain in the army. Nobody had any care what I had to say. And I wasn't working in the intelligence analysis. I was an intelligence officer, but not working analysis. So I suggested 1994 South Africa had to focus on a few things. Number one, and I've talked about it many times in this program and also on my published articles, South Africa need to focus on security. They need to extend the envelope of security that protected minority communities from major and violent crimes and make sure the police had forensics capability, investigating capability, and that prosecutors would prosecute criminals, because you cannot have economic growth when you cannot be safe. When people are breaking your homes, breaking your business, destroying things, stealing everything, you can't do that. You're not going to go anywhere. So public safety, number one. Number two, they need to fix the education system to ensure that everybody had a fair chance to become literate and have a proper education. Instead, the ANC has dumbed down education, stolen the money meant to build schools, clinics, abolition units, and it's just a big disaster. And we have generations of South Africans now that are basically functionally illiterate as a consequence of the ANC's dumbed down education system. So instead of having a critically thinking, cogent, lucid, literate workforce, you have a very uneven workforce depending on outcomes. And the other thing was a national sovereign wealth fund. Instead of giving Cyril Ramaphosa $350 million worth of equity from companies that they shook down, instead of giving Patrice Motsepe equity, instead of giving Tokyo Sexwal, well, I don't know if Patrice got hand stuff, instead of giving the elites in the ANC equity, it should have gone into a national sovereign wealth fund for the benefit of all South Africans. And then I don't really like needs-based payments, but that would have been the most fair way to do it. That way, it doesn't matter if you're white or black. If you're poor, you get a check coming out of the fund that produces in Norway. And Kuwait has set the example on how to run a national sovereign wealth fund, and they've done it brilliantly. So that's how you could have done it. Cyril Ramaphosa famously said when he came to power in 2018 that he was going to bring $100 billion of foreign direct investment into South Africa. In fact, the amount of money in South Africa has gone opposite and out of South Africa since Ramaphosa's come into the country. Yes, there have been some big splashy deals of foreign investment, but things like Volkswagen only stay here out of sympathy, not because they're making money, and Shell is leaving for a variety of reasons. Google, that's not much in the way. Amazon, not much in the way of bringing jobs and producing the economy. So he said he's going to do that. He also mentioned he's going to create a national sovereign wealth fund. Well, he didn't do that. Still never created a national sovereign wealth fund. If he did, where's it at? And who's getting money from it? Nobody. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. So those are some ways. But the other way the South Africa can fix itself is to remove its racist, broad-based black economic empowerment scumbag legislation, which is in place not for black South Africans. Let's just dispel that right now. BEE is not for black South Africans. It's for black cadres. Cadre, loyal to Latuli House. That's who profits from BEE. And who suffers? Black, white, and brown. As the most productive, efficient, lowest cost producers of goods and services are not the ones getting contracts with the government, but the corrupt cadres are getting it to enrich them. And therefore you get textbook contracts for the Eastern Cape and textbooks are never delivered, and children are functionally illiterate. You get tenders for the Eastern Cape to build abolition units so children can go to the commode or use a urinal to do their business. But instead, we dig holes, and 3-year-olds fall in them and die from the poison they get from swimming in feces. So those are some things that can be done to change the trajectory. Stop injecting race into everything. Stop blaming Jan van Riebeck and apartheid for ANC failures. Their macroeconomic policies are a disaster. Their human capital here, the natural beauty, the tourism potential, what's left of the infrastructure, which can be repaired, it'll just take a number of years. In fact, today in Pretoria East, they were fixing Linwood Road. That road was a disaster last time I was here, and it's finally getting repaired. I don't know if it's because there's elections, but it's being repaired, so it's nice to see. South Africa can be salvaged. It's an amazing country with amazing people. Truly amazing people. Black, white, and brown. Xhosa, Venda, Zulu, Basotho, Tswana, Khoi, San, Cape Malays, Cape Coloreds, Afrikaners, Portuguese, Germans, English, South Africans, one and all. All got great opportunities. So I hope I answered your question there. All right. What else have I missed here when I answered that? All right. So I think it was Talk Kaiser Chief. That's what's right. Salem's Cave. It's so frustrating trying to find work. Military-age males, nothing better to do, and not a good recipe. Okay. Grade made. Voted DA, would vote National Party. If I could, they got kicked out for obvious reasons. Well, you want to vote National Party, you got to vote for the ANC. That's where they went. A few years ago, we approached the 100% black-owned finance company with an opportunity to fund black farmers. Their response, we don't fund black farmers. They don't know how to farm. We were gobsmacked. Well, don't be surprised, because the willing buyer, willing seller basis and the expropriation with compensation that's in the Constitution has been a widely abused program. So, for instance, the ANC steals far more money from the taxpayers than it ever spends on acquiring land. And most of the land acquired by the ANC lays fallow. They provide virtually no extension services, no help acquiring credit, no training, no assistance for farmers. In fact, most of the aspiring black farmers in the tobacco field, the small-scale tobacco farmers, and those growing maize and such in South Africa, in the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape, have been helped by existing white commercial farmers helping their neighbors out. Statement of fact, not by the government. So many of these farms fail, and it's a shame. Adam says 80% of the industrial sector has always closed down. That is correct since 2008. Okay, good night, says Stephanie. RB says, born 1981, I was born and raised township near Polokwane. Yeah, that's what I thought. But that's what someone puts in Wikipedia. It doesn't make it true. Trust me, I'm an author on Wikipedia. I know when people put garbage there. So I don't know where he was born. Okay, so let me check on Zuma. Still not there. Not Zuma, around Posen. Okay. Sandy has ex-Zim. We were part of the Chirizi River Conservancy. Game farms were supposed to be safe, but when Bob ran out of commercial farms, he came for ours too. Exactly. And the last farms they went after were things owned by British American Tobacco and South African multinationals, and then they even went for those. They destroyed Zimbabwe. It was a beautiful country, and the fact is, most of the racists, the white racists in Zimbabwe, left. They left after 1980. Many of them came to South Africa. So the argument that they were racist is just nonsense. I knew lots of Zimbabweans. I know several white Zimbabweans, and their lives were completely destroyed. Many of them had moved there afterwards, believing they lived in a real country. But it was just another post-colonial theft project in Africa. Would you vote MP? What? No, I wouldn't vote MP. What are you talking about? I'm not that sure. I didn't say that. I'm reading chat. One of the commenters said I read that. I wouldn't vote National Party. I wouldn't vote DA either. So, yep, Erica was born in Katanga. DA, diehard capitalist, will never attract the black vote. Yeah, the DA is not a diehard capitalist party. I need to correct you on that end. The Democratic Alliance is very comfortable with state-owned enterprises. The Democratic Alliance is very comfortable with welfare and social handouts. In fact, if you look at their manifesto, they want to greatly increase the amount of money given to people. But they did come up with a timeline on reducing benefits for people who should work their way off of the dole. But they have no problem with social welfare. They like it. They like state-owned. That's not capitalism. That's not capitalism. You're very much mistaken. See, these myths and fairy tales told about country or about political parties because people don't bother to read what's going on is beyond the pale. All right, so what else we got here? Matthew, they go to Botswana to be domestic workers. In 1966, Botswana were going to Rhodesia to be domestic workers because it was so good. By 2000, Zimbabweans with all the domestics in Botswana. Complete reversal of fortunes. Botswana, led by a black government, very competent and successful. Yes, Hank, he was a lawyer at trade, although he made his first millions with mining. Yes, I wonder how that happened. First, we need to define equality. Give me equal opportunity or equal outcome. I don't know who we're talking about there. Equality of outcomes, I don't agree with that. Equality of opportunity, that's different. Okay. RPO says, do you think if the bandit stands or homelands were a good idea but badly executed? I don't think that the bandit stands were a particularly good idea, and they were poorly executed. The government gave lots of money, but not sufficient to generate things. They also, it just was problematic. I mean, the borders were ridiculous. Look at Botswana. I mean, you could drive a mile and cross the border 4 times. It's crazy. I understand why the government wanted to do it, and their reason for it, but it just wasn't something that went very well. Top exporters of raw tobacco were Brazil, India, Vancouver, Zimbabwe, United States. So Brazil's number 1, India's 2, Zimbabwe's 3. That's United States number 4. Okay. Of raw tobacco. I wasn't talking about raw tobacco, but I suppose that was the point was made earlier, so I'll stand corrected. I was talking about tobacco products. The United States ships cigarettes all the way, particularly to China. I know, because I invest in tobacco. But yeah, I'll stand corrected on that because raw tobacco, fair point. But Zimbabwe is not the number 1, as you can see, at least currently. It's like South Africa; they're not even close to being the number 1 gold producer in the world. Okay, cater deployment needs to go. Okay, that is going to go. So we're still waiting for Cyril. Looks like that's not going to happen, folks. Cater deployment needs to go. Disagree. BE helps uplift out of poverty most of. That's utter nonsense, Elias. Are you living in this reality? Where are you from, Elias? Have you been to the Eastern Cape? Have you been to the Cape Flats? Have you been to Alexandria? Have you been to where poor South Africans live in Shushaguvwe, north of Pretoria? Honestly, how have they been lifted out of poverty? And who has been lifted out of poverty? Only a handful of black South Africans have been lifted out of poverty because they were given their wealth. They didn't earn it. If an ownership society had been created with the Sovereign Wealth Fund in 1994 and South Africans saw the impact of investing in a capital economy by getting returns coming back to them by being owners in the economy, then we'd have a much better situation today. A much better situation. Instead of a country subsisting on handouts, over 30 million South Africans living on government largesse, which isn't government largesse, it's stolen from one person who's productive and given to someone who's not productive. Why? That's counterproductive. You encourage entrepreneurialism, you encourage business formation, you encourage job creation, and you create tax schemes and revenue schemes that facilitate that. And you simplify registering business and business operations, and you reduce taxes where possible. That's how you grow an economy, not this nonsense. So no, disagree. So looking at these comments, what do you mean, Charlotte? Why do you think black people who voted for DA see these comments? BE helps alleviate poverty for those who are historically disadvantaged. I'm not talking about caterers. I'm talking about graduate students. No, that's nonsense. That's utter nonsense. BE doesn't help graduates. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Where do you get that from? Bursaries are not BE. Grants to go to school are not BE. Maybe what you're saying, I'm not understanding your point because you only have so many characters, so I'll allow for that, Elias. Ilyas, maybe I'm misunderstanding your point, so I don't want to start a contentious thing, but I would like to know where you're coming from in this because it's simply not true. It's not true. Show me who has benefited, the number of people. Now, the black middle class in South Africa is now larger than the white population, which is interesting. And not everyone who's white is in the middle class. Some are poor, a handful are rich. But no, it hasn't benefited the broader population. 3 times as many people who are black live in abject poverty today as when the ANC took over. So the program doesn't work. 30 million people weren't put in 30 million black people weren't put in poverty during the National Party's time. There are only 34 million people in the country at that time. And now, over 30 million black South Africans live in abject poverty. Why is that? Because of ANC policies. And BE is not the answer. When you give someone advantage based on their skin color, that's just morally bankrupt. That's no different than the National Party reserving jobs for Afrikaners in their government. How do you not see that? How do you not see that? I don't understand how people are so blind to that. Zimbabwe dollar was stronger than the rand. I don't know if that was true, but that was pretty good. What else? JPat, what majority don't realize is there's not enough arable land. Yes, that's correct, JPat. 12% of South Africa's land is arable. 12%. Yep, and the largest landholder in South Africa is, of course, the South African government. Yep, 12%. Pierre Bosch, good evening from Doha. Welcome back to you. Gray made. Well, if BE was for, then why is it still in now? Okay. What else you got here? Joking Atheist says, I don't think the DNA will meet coalition. Very different ideals. Yep. Okay. That's the problem. But people who have profited from it think it's okay. They think it's a good plan. While tens of millions of other Black South Africans are left behind, living in abject poverty. Yep. Okay, Oneness Journey. And then what else you got here? Sarah says, if CR is no show, the Ram will dive. I haven't thought about that, but that's a good point. But boy, the chat is still going over there on the SABC site. Ronaldo said we should go there over an hour ago, and the number of people is still 3853. So a lot of people waiting there. But listen, folks, BE is not benefit South Africans. It's not help people lift them out of poverty. That's a fairy tale. It's simply not factually true. BE has enriched a small coterie of people, and oftentimes to the disadvantage of South Africans. There's no transparency in what happens here. There are unfair contracts. And by the way, if a business owned by a white South African doesn't get a contract, but they were the most cost efficient and the one with the best track record of building something or delivering a service, but they don't get the contract, and then the contract goes to BE company and they don't deliver, they steal the money, how do South Africans benefit from that? If a construction firm owned by an Indian South African doesn't get a contract because it goes to a black BE company that has no record of construction, which has happened, and then the school isn't built and the money disappears and nobody gets prosecuted because there's no accountability in this country, none whatsoever. But hey, there's not much accountability in my country right now either, so I really can't throw stones. I'm living in a glass house. But if that happens, how do South Africans benefit? Just the cadres benefit, which is what the story has been all about. Brewer says, if B failed South, why is he say flirting with DD policies? The USA is not flirting with DD policies. That's the media telling that. I live in Pennsylvania. There's no such thing as DEI. Diversity, which is no diversity. Equity, which is inequality. And inclusiveness, which is exclusiveness, is not. DEI is just a way to discriminate against majority white Americans. That's what DEI is. It's just racism with another name, just like equal opportunity. Not equal opportunity, excuse me. What's the word I'm looking for? Not equal opportunity, sorry. What was that thing called? Affirmative action. Affirmative action. It's not affirmative. It's disaffirmative, and it gives people a leg up unfairly. Look, I'm a military veteran. If I want a contract with the U.S. government, I get automatic points because of my veteran status. I'm a disabled veteran, so I get more points. I don't think that's fair. I don't think I should be favored because I'm a veteran. I don't think I should be favored because I'm disabled. That's wrong. The best company with the best services should get the advantage. Now, if the government wants to give me a tax break because of disability, that's a different story. But if the government wants to give me a contract over a better company because I get artificial points, it's wrong. If I get hired for a job and I have a higher rating simply because I'm a disabled veteran over someone just as well qualified or better qualified, that's not right. The best person should be hired. The best corporation should get the contract. It's pretty simple. He says, I have limited exposure on Cape Town and it works for us. Elias, thank you for your honesty. Okay. Well, it doesn't work. It works for you, but it doesn't work for the people in Kailicha. It doesn't work for the people in Mitchell's Plains, most of them. It doesn't work for the people living north of Cape Town along the Namibia-Cape route. It doesn't work for them. They live in shacks. Horrible living conditions. Okay. Tax breaks for companies that employ with direct jobs. Says RB. Okay. Sandy says, tell South African, what's this? Sandy says, what? Come back here. Where'd it go? Sandy says, tell South African whites how Mugabe humbled your people simply by taking back the land. Don't you think we'll work in South Africa and the land do the same? That's N telling Sandy that. No, Mugabe didn't humble anybody. Mugabe's a murderous thief. a one-testicle murderous thief who's left this planet and is burning in Hades at this hour. Pretty simple. He's an evil, disgusting, vile human being, a reprehensible slimeball, Robert Gabriel Mugabe. And he will rot in hell for the rest of his existence in the afterlife. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. He's a murderous pig who murdered tens of thousands of Ndebele and responsible for the murder of tens of thousands of Shona who would not cooperate. Oh, is he finally speaking? Okay.
Officials of the African National Congress, members of the National Executive Committee of the ANC.
As high as I can get it.
We have reached the conclusion of this very important special meeting of our National Executive Committee, where we reflected on the outcomes of the 2024 elections.
Can you hear it?
And the immediate tasks that our movement now has. Before I share with you the deliberations that we've just concluded,
yes, please do share.
Allow me to take this opportunity to express the condolences of the National Executive Committee
For what?
to the families who have lost their loved ones during the recent extreme weather events in KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape. We remain deeply concerned about the genocide that continues to take place in Gaza, in
It's not genocide.
where atrocities against civilians continue to cause great hardship and loss of life
In Sudan.
to the people of Gaza.
Sudan. Myanmar.
We condemn the most recent bombing of a school in a refugee center and facilities housing displaced people.
So I guess he says screw the 5.5 million
We call on the
Sudanese.
international community to act now to end the genocide that is being perpetrated against the Palestinian people.
Let me fix the mic.
This NEC meeting has just concluded a full day of discussions on the election outcome and the way ahead. We have recognized that the people of South Africa have made their wishes known in free and fair elections.
Get to it.
We accept the outcome of these elections
So tell us what you decided.
as the will of the people of South Africa. The ANC has emerged from these elections as the largest political party in the country.
Minus 17%.
We are humbled by the confidence that the people of South Africa have shown
Confidence.
in the African National Congress.
Confidence.
We now say as the National Executive Committee that we have heard the concerns of the people of South Africa. We have also heard their frustrations and recognized their aspirations.
Yeah, okay.
The 40% vote for the ANC is a recognition that the ANC remains a pivotal partner in the country's search for a way forward.
No, it doesn't. It's the problem.
There can be no solution in our country without the ANC.
Actually, the solution is no ANC. That's the press. The
That
press
in
clapping.
itself places a responsibility on the ANC to ensure that there is unity, stability, peace, and progress in South Africa.
That's no progress. That's for damn sure.
During the course of the discussions of the NEC, we have looked at various different scenarios for setting up government.
Get to it.
As the ANC, with its 40%
It's
return,
40%.
cannot really set up government without cooperating with others.
Correct.
The discussions have been constructive,
Really.
robust, thoroughgoing, and have enabled us to emerge with a unified consensus position.
Pala pala.
The NEC meeting has provided clear direction on the work that we must do over the next few days, as well as the next few weeks, to establish national and provincial governments that are stable, effective, and advance the interests of the people of South Africa.
You can say a lot without answering questions, Kenny.
The ANC acknowledges that we are at a moment of fundamental consequence in the life of our nation. Our country requires extraordinary leadership and courage to plot a way forward. We must act with speed to safeguard national unity,
Speed in this speech would be nice.
peace, stability, inclusive economic growth, non-racialism, and non-sexism.
The terrible sound is an example of
We will
ANC
ensure
excellence.
the continuation of a progressive agenda of social and economic transformation in our country.
Racism, transformation, racism, discrimination.
That invite political parties to form a government of national unity as the best option to move our country forward.
No, it'll collapse as soon as it gets started.
The modalities of the government of national unity will take into account the conditions prevailing at this moment in our country's history. The purpose of the government of national unity must be first and foremost be to tackle the pressing issues that South Africans want to be addressed.
The ANC has ignored for 30
These
years.
issues include job creation and the growth of our economy that will be inclusive, the high cost of living, service delivery, crime, and corruption.
All the things you failed at.
The NEC has agreed that this moment calls for the broadest unity of the people of South Africa. This moment also calls for multi-party cooperation and multi-stakeholder collaboration.
Could you get to
if
it?
we are to overcome the severe challenges that confront our country.
I'm going to read a newspaper.
From the results of these elections, it is clear that South Africans expect their leaders to work together to meet their needs.
This guy should go just for this
They
speech alone.
expect us to find common ground, to overcome our differences, and to act together for the good of everyone.
Oh, dear God.
We are committed.
You're committed, all right.
Ensuring that a government of national unity has the means and the ability to build an inclusive economy, to create jobs, to end corruption, to tackle crime and
ANC corruption.
and to improve the provision of services to our people. In establishing a government of national unity,
Oh, my gosh.
we are building on a very rich history of cooperation across divides of politics and ideology.
What history is he talking about?
We will be drawing on an experience with which South Africans are familiar and which served our country well at a time of great difficulty and division.
Talking about 94?
30 years after the achievement of democracy in 1994, we are, as the people of South Africa, once again called upon to ensure that we collaborate and that political parties should come together to forge a common future for our country. But it is not only political parties that need to come together. We believe that there is a need for a national dialogue which brings together all parties, all social partners, and all sections of society to seek consensus on the actions required to take the country forward.
Well, this is incredibly painful. We waited for this.
Dialogue will enhance our pressing task of rebuilding social cohesion in a fractured society following a particularly toxic and divisive election campaign. With regard to the practicalities of the
Toxic
report,
campaign? It wasn't really toxic.
the NEC has benefited from a report on the preliminary engagements our task team has had with various political parties. The task team is composed of
Who cares?
5 national officials,
Who cares?
except for the president and the deputy president, that is convened by the Secretary General,
This guy's a joke.
together with other members of both the NWC and the NEC, as well as officials who support them. We have already held constructive discussions
Oh my
with a
gosh.
number of parties,
Such as?
the Economic Freedom Fighters,
Oh,
the Inkatha Freedom Party, the Democratic Alliance, the National Freedom Party, the Patriotic Alliance. We've also engaged our alliance partners to
SACP.
brief them on the process
Soweto.
and will continue to seek their invaluable views and guidance.
They mean nothing.
The ANC has entered these discussions with an open mind and a commitment to speak to all parties
Well, that would be a new
that
tag.
have a stated intention to advance the interests of the people of South Africa.
Wow.
As the NEC, we have already agreed in April 2023 on certain principles that should guide our approach to collaborating with other parties in coalition. The principles we will collaborate with other parties are based on advancing the building of a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, and prosperous nation.
Prosperous. It sounds not
We
prosperous.
further said that any such agreement of working with others must be based on a common minimum program that focuses on measurable targets for economic growth and inclusion, on service delivery and development. All parties
Jerry Wateba, who was on my channel, was chatting on the SABC channel.
nation building and social cohesion.
That's funny.
Now, these values include respect for the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa and the rule of law,
When,
social justice and equity, human dignity, non-racialism, and non-sexism. These values also include stability, accountability, transparency, integrity, community participation, and good governance.
on board.
Agreements between parties
Wildebeest.
who will be involved in this whole process should, in the end, be in writing. They should be public. They should also be transparent and include measures for holding all participants accountable. Our approach to how provincial governments are formed, where we do not have an outright majority, will be guided by the same principles. The ANC notes that we do have ideological and political differences with several parties in our political landscape.
Yeah, get to it.
However, we
However,
will not preclude the possibility of working with any party so long as it is in the public interest and it is in keeping with the principles that they have articulated.
smart move.
Guided by these principles,
Yes.
understanding the needs of the country and appreciating the expressed will of the people, the National Executive Committee has agreed to seek agreement amongst parties on the formation of the Government of National Unity.
Okay.
This NEC has therefore mandated our negotiating task team to proceed to engage with parties on this proposal of a GNU.
Okay.
They will also reach out to broader range of parties to enrich
Which
the
parties?
process and promote inclusiveness. We directed the task team under the guidance of the national officials working committee to develop in greater detail the modalities and button down our principles and the governance.
Batten down our principles, eh?
Guide all the parties
Are you at sea
to
now?
government of national unity to ensure that
Boy, Cyril could talk forever and say nothing.
and effective and is aimed at serving the interests of the people of South Africa.
Oh my goodness.
We have agreed as this NEC that it is both necessary and strategic that we act in a manner that seeks to unite the broadest range of social forces and isolate those that seek to cause chaos and instability and division.
Does anybody have a crochet needle?
As the ANC, we will be reaching out to formations across society to build a shared program for social and economic change. In the coming days,
Yes.
we will be convening meetings of ANC structures
Ooh, I'm
to
excited.
discuss the conduct and outcomes of the election,
Thank goodness.
the immediate priorities, as well as the way forward.
Oh, that's good.
As the election results emerged last week, there was
We were
a
horrified.
measure of fear that the outcomes would lead to fragmentation and instability.
Yes.
Following elections that tended towards polarization, there was a measure of fear as well that South Africans would not be able to work together.
Well, we're just bored right
There
now,
was
Cyril.
also fear that the transformation of our society would be disrupted and that our efforts to rebuild the economy would be derailed.
Rebuild what you
Yet,
destroyed.
This NEC has determined the outcome of this election presents an opportunity to forge a more inclusive, cooperative, and an effective approach to governance.
So you're going to abandon BE?
It
Not.
presents to the people of South Africa an opportunity to bring political parties and social partners together
Really?
to address the challenges that concern most South Africans.
Oh, get to it. Good
The
God.
government of national unity is the most viable, the most effective, and most powerful way of meeting the expectations of all South Africans at this particular moment.
I'll pay taxes.
We are called upon as this leadership and as a movement to give effect to the will and to the wishes of the voters.
Cyril, just get to the point. I'll pay. Just get to the point. I'll pay. Could you just get to the point? I'll pay.
The National Executive
Good
Committee.
God.
Our sincere thanks to ANC volunteers throughout the country.
This is a media briefing.
Also to
And there's applause for
our
that.
employees and our veterans and our
Our
stalwarts.
veterans. 2,500 actual
worked
veterans.
tirelessly to reach voters across the country to bring them out to vote.
And dropped by
We
17
also
points.
extend our thanks, more importantly, to the people of South Africa who turned out in their millions
No, they didn't. 58% turnout, moron.
and to affirm their confidence in democracy and in the future of our
40
country.
million eligible voters. 16 million. And they're applauding for 16 million out of 40 million.
Important people, the people of South Africa, we thank them, irrespective of which
Hang on.
party they voted for.
See.
We, as the African National Congress, we
We have
thank
that cushion up here. Oh, look.
our democracy
oh,
has
look.
been hugely enhanced,
Stuffed in a seat. There's
and
money.
the people of our country
I'm broadcasting live from the Palo Palo Game Range. Just going through the seat cushion, I found some money.
vote as the way they have concluded their voting. Thank you very much.
He didn't tell us anything. We waited for that. That's it. Look at these trained seals. Gwede Mantashe up there. All right, we don't really care what Gwede Mantashe said. Yeah, no, I just listed up, yeah, what do we expect? Nothing, apparently. That's a big nothing burger. So the National Executive Committee just wasted our time. People waited for 2.5 hours to hear some or Cyril Ramaphosa say that we lost the election. We have very little option but to try for government and national unity because otherwise our voters will abandon us in the next municipal elections and the government may not survive. So no coalition, nothing happening. That is the ANC. Wow, what a bunch of losers. Okay, so why is suddenly so bad a connection? There we go, it's better. All right, so wow, I'm just going to turn that off. That's just a waste of time and see if that improves. Okay, so move that laptop over here and that's a better picture now. All right. Wow, the crowd is probably CGI. Buying time to enter into coalitions, you say. Yay, bud, big nothing burger. So who's going to be president? Miguel Jesus, we don't even know who's going to be in a coalition or a government of national unity. What happened to Uma? Okay. Oh, I'm growing. What is this? Lindy DeLong. What a waste of time indeed. Did you find the iPad? Government of national unity should, by definition, mean no opposition, hence DA coalition. William Rawls says the markets are jittery. He is trying to calm the markets, so this phony show of calm, I think the markets will tank even more. I agree. It's spineless. It's pointless. It's a complete waste of time. What a pathetic performance by Cyril Ramaphosa. I noticed our numbers have increased because people have come back after watching it. Thanks for being here, folks. We just had here. I went through my haul of things I picked up from Safari Outdoor today. Got myself a nice T-shirt. This one here. It's embroidered really nice there. Yeah, there you go. So, Elkaman Senateur. There you go. Wildebeest. So there's that. I got myself a nice little Janssen shirt. Good little khaki color here. Janssen on the inside here. Trying to help the South African economy. There's Janssen there. It's also up in the up there. So there you go. And then picked up, what else did I get here? A pair of socks. There you go. This was much more entertaining than Cyril Ramaphosa talking about this. And there we go. So in this cap. Check out the cap. That's pretty cool, huh? There you go. All right, so I wanted a pair of trousers, but they had a size. It was the next size up. It was way too big. It was like this much space in there. And then the next size down was like, I was going to be a pole dancer, so I had to wait for another one. Okay, so let me get back to what we missed over here in the chat. Leon Schuster for president. Yeah, Mr. Bones. Speech would have been half the time if he didn't pause in the middle of every sentence. Yep. Please wait. Give us a recap. Well, Big Boss, the recap is nothing came out of it. It was, of course, a big nothing burger from Cyril Ramaphosa, telling us the obvious and telling us basically, as one of the viewers said, he's trying to calm the jittery markets down. The financial markets are just waiting for something from South Africa. Basically, they come up with nothing. He's indicated they want to go for government and national unity. A government and national unity is going to collapse. It's not going to last. So we'll see what happens here. What else? Did you find the iPad? No, I didn't find the iPad in the seat. Gold Line, what a crap joke show. Yep, you're right. Riki Lowe says, I woke up before I'm in Australia to watch Cyril say nothing. Hey, Riki, welcome in from Australia. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. Appreciate you being here. Sarah Thron, all those committees getting paid a fortune. The RAND is about to take a deep dive, says Sean. Etienne, hey, I'll tell you what, the money I found in the seat cushion here at Pala Pala, I mean, that's going to mean that's not worth anything. Well, that sucks. So the money I found in the seat cushions here at the Pala Pala Game Ranch, nothing going to come out of that. Cameron Nichols says, what do you think would be best for South Africa? I think you entered the conversation late, Cameron. I said that there are no good outcomes. I did my analysis of potential coalitions based on the Brandhurst poll 2 months ago. The video is on the channel. You can find it. But as I said, the bottom line here is that the best of all the bad options is ANC, DA, and Inkatha Freedom Party. The DA, the ANC do not put forward a presidential candidate. They put forward Velenkosini Klabisa as the presidential candidate, a voice of reason, a man who was mentored by Mangosuthu Buthelezi for decades, and a party that has gained some credibility. The only major party to increase its vote total in this election, only the IFP can say that. The EFF lost votes. They lost percentage. The DA lost percentage. The DA lost, I'm sorry, they gained percentage, but lost votes. The ANC lost 4 million votes and 17 points. And the Freedom Front Plus also lost significantly. So the only major party that gained here was the Inkatha Freedom Party, gaining over 100,000 votes and increasing their percentage about 4%. So that's the best of all of the bad choices here, is that sort of thing. A scary outcome would be ANC EFF PA. That's possible. That would give them over 50%, but I don't think it's likely. So, Brewer says, I found toilet paper, not money. J. Pat says, I vote for Thabo Mbeki. There you go. It's a catchphrase, and that is all that came out of it. Yep. Comeback topic. Dr. Kozazani, Clarice Telemizuma, isn't she still part of the six-pack? I don't know. Okay, 18.97 to the dollar. Oof, I better burn all of the money I've got quickly. Fear is the logical reaction. You do not say paranoid, which is illogical. Indy, all right, good to see you again. You can use it for tissue and have a purple nose afterwards. Good night, Sandy. Going to move all your money into crypto tonight. Well, that's an option. Sean Folshank says, I'll give you $1 for each of those 100 rand notes. Maybe soon. Fenster is ANC trying to please everyone. No, he didn't mention any parties that had definitely signed on, so it's still an open invite. Exactly. That's what it's all about. You are spot on. Good analysis there, Fenster. Justice, that was disappointing. Was really hoping to learn something. Well, I think we all were, and people getting up at 4 a.m. in Australia were certainly hoping to learn something. We got nothing out of it. Eric Borchardt, Rob Posa, said that they are looking at many parties. There's still no clear way forward. Yep, and he's running out of time. He did say he was going to go with a party that's in any country into rule of law, which means most likely what? Oh, he doesn't want to go. Okay. Sarah Thron, barbecue lays and Energade. There you go, Sarah. I'm off to that here shortly. And I've got some gummy bears. I've got these. I brought these with me to South Africa, and I brought several bags, and I'm enjoying them. So Haribo in America now, you can get gummy bears, just one flavor. Cherry's my favorite. So after 40 years of eating Haribo and eating the yellow ones and the green ones and the orange ones, which I don't care for, and looking for the red ones, now I can buy just cherry Haribo gummy bears. And yes, that is the correct way to pronounce it. It's not gummy bears, it's gummy bears. Die sind aus Deutschland hergestellt und die kommen von Haribo. Haribo macht Kinder froh und Erwachsene ebenso. Anyway, so yeah. Waited 30 years for ANC to piss off. We can wait another week. Send him to the Appalachian Hills. Hey, don't be putting him in Appalachian Hills. It's not over till the big fat lady sings. Where in the world is the Lady Pondor, says Sean. Quintessential organics. If all the corrupt are running off. Yeah. Colonel, I believe we're all running out of time. African time this time around will not be a help anyway. I think you're right about that. I love. Oh yes, Helen. I do like the cola ones. They're pretty good, and I also like the little cherry bunches. But these I like better. These are fantastic. They're all little cherry gummy bears, man. What's your take on KZN? Gold Watch, good question. KZN is going to be a difficult one to work out. So what does MK do? First off, they're arguing that they want a majority, but there's no evidence of that. No evidence that would support that. I mean, if they do, they're going to have to provide it if that's the case. They have 45%, so they don't need a lot of help. The EFF can't help them, I don't think. I have to go back and look at the numbers. I don't know what they're going to do in KZN. They may try to work out a deal with the IFP, but the IFP went out on a limb and said they weren't going to do anything. If the IFP doesn't go into coalition at the national level for the good of the nation, it's going to be hard for them to argue that it's a good idea to go into coalition in KZN. That's a tough one. And the ANC hates them, so I don't think that's going to happen. I think they may have just a minority government ruling in the provincial legislature. It doesn't matter. The provinces don't do anything. It's a caterer's job scheme. That's what it is. One party not including unity, if I heard, was MK. That's correct. They never mentioned MK. Notice, thank you, Pierre Orban, for pointing out, I was going to get to it, one of the most poignant things. He mentioned the DA. He mentioned the EFF. He mentioned the NPP, I think it was. And he did not mention Action SA. He did mention the PA. He did not mention MK. Interesting. All right. I've heard many political analysts say that KZN might just leave the Union of South Africa. Eric Borchardt, I've talked about this endlessly. People looking for Cape secession. It's a topic I've covered endlessly over the past 4 years. Multiple times interviewed Hein Marks. I've interviewed Des Palm, Phil Craig, and also talked to Freedom Front Plus about this. The bottom line is that I've said for a long time that it's much more likely that the Zulu will leave South Africa in secession before Western Cape. Anyway, Warren says, what will it mean? All parties involved? Yeah, well, that's kind of how it works. They've got to work together, but we'll see. Locals have told me they don't trust IFP anymore. Wouldn't say why. That's interesting, JPEG. Friday says, margarine does certainly... Ronell, they probably have an extra few days to decide. It's the 16th is public holiday, so to the 17th, so new government's only by the 18th. Indy DeLong, if they can't get it together, we will have to vote again. Is that a possibility? Lindy, that is a possibility in a parliamentary system. If you can't get a government to function, you can't elect the president and you can't come up with a cabinet, then you can have a revote. Yep, that's possible. In a revote, the ANC is going to do even worse, I believe, because people don't trust them now because they've been talking to the DA. The world has gone mad. Nice little plug for the ANC headline sponsors at the beginning of his speech. Yeah, that was funny. That was good. Anyway, folks, once again today, Steve Hofmeyer and I had lunch at Moo in Pretoria East, Moo, and I managed to get this coaster from there. Yep. So they've got meat and wine. Meat as in meat together, not meat to eat, and wine as in wine about things, complain. Moo, you go to the bathrooms in there and you hear cattle calls in the toilets. It's kind of weird. They have steak there, wonderful steak. It's quite enjoyable and affordable. So you should check it out if you get to Pretoria East. That is a unsolicited, unpaid for sponsorship. All right, so the world got mad. Okay, he's not asking for a referendum. Jackie Smith was watching K-pop. BTS, excellent for stress relief. Yeah, no, BTS is pretty popular, but aren't they in the Korean Army now, or are they finished with their service? Viva Cape Exit. Oh, well, that's just down the road from me, says Helen. Oh, really, Helen? That's where you're at? That's a shame. Could have had lunch with Steve and I today. Yeah, so, yeah, see, Etienne, it's at 19 to the dollar, and Sean was going to give me $1 for 100 Rand. Somehow I think I lost about 80% of the value there. Anyways, pretty entertaining. All right, so let's look at our poll results. And right now, the poll that's up, they asked me to put up, is will the ANC coalition happen? 54% say no. We got 536 votes on that. That's shocking, man. That's pretty cool. 536, that's one of our best polls in a long time, but we've had a big audience turning in. ANC is out. Chris Ayler's knows Moo, okay. Well, I'd never been there before. Steve took me there. I had a lovely time, enjoyed it. A little bright sunshine out there, but nice and really nice people there. Steak was pretty good. I had the garlic and herb or something like that sauce with it. It was pretty good. Okay, the poll you put up is almost as divided as the exactly. That's a good point there. The choppy braai will be baba. Okay, cattle noises drowns out. Yeah, well, when you're taking a tinkle in the toilet, it sure does. Yep. Darn, missed out. Yes, Helen, you did miss out. But I'll be back up that way. I want to do a meet and greet up in the Pretoria East, probably on the next one to get back up. We will be doing a meet and greet on Saturday, probably 11 o'clock in the morning over next to Loftus, where I'm staying at the Marriott tomorrow night and Saturday night. I'll be at the Loftus game, the quarterfinals of the URC. If you want to come to it, we're planning on Saturday at 11 a.m. Saturday, 11 a.m., probably the Mexican place that's right there next to the Marriott in that little shopping area there. So please feel free to come by, folks. I'll make a banner for that, and we'll invite people. I think a revote would happen. DA would do a lot better, as many would then vote DA instead of MPC. Possibly. RPS, in response to your statements of succession, don't you think that will be accompanied by war, as the Zulu have always been imperialist and would carry South Africa with them? I don't know, RPO. I don't think that's the case. And I'm not saying secession is going to happen. I'm not in favor. I'm not opposed to secession. I'm just saying that I've been reporting on it. I'm saying that the sentiment among the Zulu is probably stronger than it is amongst the Western Cape. These Cape secession groups have had a lot of support and signatures, but right now, Cape secession is off the table as far as I'm concerned. The referendum party made a play for it, and it did not go well. Just 5,500 votes. They had hoped for 10,000 as a good showing. That would have been a good showing in a first-run election, but they didn't get those. 10,000 votes, and their goal was 100,000, so they're way short of it. And I think that for the next 6 months, Cape secession is going to be tabled. People aren't going to talk about it while people try to forget the poor performance of the referendum party. And that's not a criticism of the referendum party. They had some very good arguments. They had some good social media, but they didn't resonate with enough people. And I think that a lot of people, I think, just did want to make sure that the DA didn't lose in the Western Cape, so they didn't take that chance. Viva de Cap de Woop. Die Woop. Woop. Wat is Woop? Wat is Woop? Okay, please advise where. What? See if it shows me. So give me a second here. So maps on Google and see if I can get the name of the restaurant. It's there. I've been there. We had a meet and greet there last time. A lot of people showed up. It was pretty cool. So let me I'm going to zoom out from Joburg. Okay, Joburg are out. So let me get up to Pretoria. Get over there by Hatfield. Okay. And come on. All right, where's Wonder Moment? That's not what I'm looking for. There we go. Now we're tracking. Okay, University of Pretoria. There we go. Come on, where is the stadium at? It's near here somewhere. I don't know where this is at. Come on. Come on. Well, let's just do it this way. Just put Loftus. I can't find it. There we go. Loftus Festival, Kirkner Street. There you go. All right, so let me see. There we go. I was just a little bit off of my map. So there's the Loftus Park Shopping Mall. Let's see if they tell me what stores are there. There's the Protea. Pizza Hut. There's a Pizza Hut there now? I didn't know there's a Pizza Hut there. Where's that Mexican place at, man? Huh. It's not showing me the pizza. Maybe the Mexican place is gone. All right, well, I'll figure that out when I get there tomorrow evening. Oh, there's a Rockamamas. We don't want to do Rockamamas. I ate at Rockamamas there. It was okay. There's a Mexican place there. At least there was. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anyway. Well, Herder Spees is located there. I didn't know that. Interesting. All right, so breaking news. SAP's bomb squad currently conducting a sweep of Cape Town International Airport. Security threat on flight due to depart for... Okay, Mark, thanks for that update. I flew from there yesterday, so that's pretty scary. Wow. Well, that's pretty scary, man. Wow. Seamus says, why is DA always held to a much higher standard than other parties? Because they are hated by the ruling parties and the media who are fake. Fallfield Square is what you're talking about. Is that what it's called? Okay, thank you. Yeah. So Zulu Prime Minister, senior member, IFP, and they don't believe in independence. South Africa's not breaking up in our lifetime. We'll see. Okay. All right. Yes, I am, Harry, coming to KZN, and I've been talking about that. I mentioned it. I booked my flight from Port Elizabeth, flying out on the 11th to Durban. I'm just working out my schedule of where I'm going to be and how it's going to work out. So, yeah, I am coming to KZN. That's a fact. That's a fact, Jack, coming to KZN. But I do need to talk to a few people, including John Tungay, about my arrival. I said earlier, I'm arriving in the early evening, and driving to Howick is going to be at least an hour and a half of that traffic and in the dark, and I don't know. And I don't really feel like driving that far, so if I get there 5:30, get my car and go stay like the Hilton, which is close to the airport, about 15 minutes away, is anybody willing to come up to the Hilton or somewhere nearby for a meet and greet on that evening? Because the next 2 evenings I would be up country. So, and Dong is here. Meanwhile, the grand old man ignorantly believes if his 58 MPs first sitting Parliament will what? Oh, yeah, no, you're right, Dongan. No, he's wrong. The 58, you don't need that for a quorum. Yes, the United States beats international powerhouse Pakistan at men's T20 World Cup. Whoa, the earth has shaken tonight. The earth has shaken tonight. A lot could happen between now and tomorrow. I suspect the exchange, yes, a lot could happen. Yes, it could happen. Yep. So, yeah, no, Jacobs was very confused. His 58 members of parliament aren't even needed. They can never show up and the government conduct its business. All you need is for a quorum, somebody said 130. I don't know if that's true. But what you definitely need is to approve legislation as a majority, and that's 201 votes. And so there's 400. So they don't need him. It's a way, but my understanding is Ron Posa said a lot, but actually nothing. Correct. He talked a lot, but he said nothing. Okay. So at least people got voice. Werner Kruger, did you miss anything in his speech? No, you didn't miss anything. Charles, you can stop over in Pinetown, very central. There's a Protea nearby. Yeah, that's an option too. But I'll work this all out, hopefully over the weekend. Yeah, I'll work it out over the weekend. So we'll sort it out. So listen, I'm spending money, and I'm taking time away that I was going to allocate elsewhere because a lot of people asked me to come to KZN. So I'm asking you, if you wanted me to come to KZN, I'm going to ask you if we do an event, if you're able to come, please come, because I'm taking time out of my schedule. It wasn't for sure planned on this trip. And by the way, Uppington might be back on the table for a day or two. That's going to be crazy. We'll see what happens there. So I'm working on that as well. But thank you, Charles. That's an option and an idea. I appreciate that. Arctic has finally shown up here. Thanks for showing up. We are at 1 hour and 59 minutes. It is 11 o'clock in South Africa. You know, I almost said East Coast because it's always good. Okay, that flight has departed. It's over Langsberg. Okay, are you watching FlightAware? Let me just do FlightAware. Let me do FlightAware. That's a good thing to do. FlightAware. F-L-I-G-H. Flight. A-W-A-R-A. FlightAware.com. Here we go. Let's go see and see what it says. Okay, flight which one is it? FA, which one? Can you help me out with that? 102. Thank you very much. FA 102. FA 102. FA 102. Okay, there you go. Got it. Okay. All right. Supposed to depart Cape Town at 5:58 p.m. Arrived at 7:36. Arrived over a year ago. What? That's not right. No flights last. Okay, FlightAware is clearly not updated with this information. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Google flight tracker. That's funny. Flight radar. Let's try that instead. Let's try that one. Gateway Shopping Center is a nice place to consider meet and greet. All right, thank you, Brendan. Chris, make an invite for KZN. I'll share on our 50 on WhatsApp. Who said that? That zipped by really fast. Let me get back to that. Rudolph Thomas. Thank you, Rudolph. Okay, Flight Radar 24. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Flight Radar 24. There it is. Okay, let me take a look at that and see where FA 102 is at. Okay. Yes, I can send the cookies. Stop bugging me. Okay, Cape Town International Airport. Okay. Find flights. FA 102. FA 102. Okay. Cape Town live. Okay, that's the one I want. Okay. Actual departure was 10:44. That flight was delayed by over 4 hours. 5:25 and it left at 10:44. It's going to arrive at 12:25 in the morning. Wow. Show it on the map. Of course, it's a Boeing. All right. Wow, that is crazy, folks. Crazy. That is pretty insane. So, wow, Flight Radar 24. This is really nice. I can see the flight now. It's over the Karoo, and it is over Uland, and actually a little north of that, below Sutherland, and headed up. Wow. It is not going to get until 12:24 in the morning. That sucks, man. Yes, pizza time. They are going to go for government and national unity. Whether that works or not is a whole other story. World's Gone Mad. Salsa Mexican Grill in Loftus Park. That's the place, World Gone Mad. Thank you. Salsa Mexican Grill, Loftus Park. Let me look that up. Salsa Mexican Grill is a... There it is. Salsa Mexican Restaurant, Loftus Park. That's the one. That's the one, baby. Thank you. Salsa Mexican Restaurant. Yep, that's the one. Okay, yeah. So I thought we'd meet there. We'll do that 11 o'clock on Saturday. How's that sound, folks? How's that sound? Are you up for that? And you're welcome to come to it. So I'll get that word out, and we'll let people know. Boy, I got a lot of windows open here. So let's see what News 24 says. Thank you. Talon Bezuidenhout. ANC will form a government of national unity to move South Africa forward. Forward. That's so funny, Cyril. Okay, Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has received a list from the IEC and will announce the first sitting of the 7th Parliament. Nelson Mandela Bay floods over 1 billion rand in damages as mop-up operations are underway. Wow. Carol Patton says ANC is aiming for Codesa too. Please. And Fikele Mabalula says nothing is cast in stone. Oh, hang on a second here. I went the wrong way. Did the final numbers, the DA is at 55 in the Western Cape. Wow, they must have adjusted that. That's up from 52. That's good for the DA. They actually held their own there. So, well, we'll see about Codesa too. I don't think it's going to happen. All right. Oh, anyway, so, wow, we just got over 2 hours. Still got over 200 people here. Dirt Bin doesn't have any raspberry craft beer. Never going back there. Talking, of course, about the Kapstadt Brauhaus, which has the craft raspberry crystal Weizen. Good stuff. Good stuff. Big fan. But I have to be in a way that I'm not driving. That's a lot of beer. Pizza Time says, honestly, I'm glad they didn't go for EFF or MK outright. Well, yeah, in fact, Pizza Time, he mentioned multiple parties, but not MK. Well, that's going to piss off the Zulu and who voted for MK. Yep, we'll see what happens there. But that is something else. All right, folks, it is after 11 p.m. here in South Africa. It's after, must be what, 11 minus 6 is 5 p.m. in the States. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. We're only at 281 likes, and gosh, I think we've had a lot of viewers tune in for this. Let me take a look and see what it says here. Hang on a second here. I need to go back to my studio. That's not where I want to go. I want to go to my channel. I want to check something here very quickly before we wrap up here. And, come on, YouTube, a little bit faster. Chase the Vote Town Hall with President Donald Trump. It's online right now. So, Der Musterknabe with Peter Alexander. Yeah, I was watching Peter Alexander last night. Thank you, Chris. Have a good one, buddy. My pleasure. Thank you all for tuning in. Got some more folks to meet with tomorrow. So let me just take a look here very quickly. It's taking a while here to load. It's a little slow tonight. I guess there's a lot of people online. According to this, is that right? Come on. 4,800 people tuned into this. Should we stay a little bit longer to get to 5,000? Esther says, thanks for the stream. I'll put up a new thumbnail after this for this stream. We'll put up there. I always do that. Slow them off for good one. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, good show, says James Brown. I feel good. Thanks for keeping us in the loop, says LS. You're very welcome. Etienne Fillon says, sorry, just had 18. Okay. Good night, says Robert Rankin. Thank you all for jumping in. And by the way, folks, we've confirmed multiple times now that so many people are watching the channel who don't have YouTube accounts. They just watch the content. Whoever you are, thank you very much. But you need not fear having an account. You can make an anonymous account. Just make something up with an email address at YouTube, at Google, and it'll be fine, and you can become a subscriber. I really appreciate that. The subscriber numbers do matter, and we get people to say, oh, your channel's not that big. Well, it is that big. It has big influence, and we're grateful for all our viewers. JC Kruger says good night. So please become a subscriber if you don't mind. We really do appreciate it. Colonel, you and Ronaldo will have a lot to discuss. Oh, we will. We will. The World Gone Mad, thanks, Colonel. Often listen, but don't comment much. Have a good night. Well, that's fine, World Gone Mad. Thank you very much for that. All right, everybody's out here. Be safe. Government and national unity. Good luck with that. I'm going to go dig through the cushions here on the couch and the sofa and see if I can't find some more money. Good night, everybody. God bless. Take care. Be safe out there. Cheers.